Welcome to the Cryptocurrency Literacy Program. Thanks for joining us for this presentation. We'll be going here for 15 to 30 minutes, giving a full breakdown on what cryptocurrency is. Hi everybody, my name is Charles Moy, and I'm going to be teaching you cryptocurrency, the new digital internet money, and it really is the future. Here's a little picture of me so you know who's talking to you, and let's just get right into it. To first understand cryptocurrency, you have to understand money and what the function of currency is. And currency is a medium of exchange. So if I've got like this laptop here and I want to buy it, I exchange dollars, maybe $800 gets you a new laptop. It's very simple. You trade dollars for items. Currency is also a store of value. So if you're like a tuna fisherman, you go out and you fish all these tuna, you can't just hold the tuna, they'll go rotten and it'll stink. But if you trade your tuna for dollar bills, then you'll have the dollars and it's a good store of value. Well, the best store of value in history has probably been gold. It's been around for thousands of years and it's a great store of value, but gold is a really poor medium of exchange. You want to go buy a computer, well, what are you going to do? Like shave off a little bit of gold and no, it doesn't work like that. So, hopefully that helps you understand the functions of currency. Another function of currency is a unit of account. So if I say this laptop I'm doing this presentation on is, the laptop I'm doing this presentation on is $800. Well, pretty much everybody listening to the presentation understands, relatively what $800 means to them. Currency is also fungible. So if I was to give you $100, you could divide it and give me 10 10s or 2 50s or 25s. That's one of the functions of money. And money is changing now. It's evolving. And what I put over here is this little slideshow where it's these guys riding these horses, horse and buggy versus the automobile, and they're saying, I really can't wait until this fad is over. Oh, don't worry, this bubble will pop soon. Well, I can tell you what, people have been saying that for Bitcoin since 2009, and the price keeps going up. And by the end of this presentation, you'll be fully literate on why. Here's one of my favorite quotes done by this guy, Victor Hugo. And he's saying that there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And really what he's saying here is that once something is seen, it cannot be unseen. Like Pandora's box is open and the new way of doing money, the new way of doing currency is here. And just like when you're out there on the streets or you look into the parking lot, you don't see a lot of cars with carburetors. You see fuel injection because a new technology came, it disrupted the old technology, and that's the way it is. And that's what's happening here with cryptocurrency. So yeah, cryptocurrency is a better way to do money. But you might ask yourself, well, why didn't this exist before? I mean, we've had computers for a long time. Well, it's because there was a problem, and the problem was double spending. So if I was to send you something like some Bitcoin, what's to stop me from counterfeiting that and using this same thing? Like we all have cut and paste on our computer. I could just cut and paste, send you some digital currency, cut and paste, send you some digital currency, cut and paste, send the next guy some digital currency. Well, that was the problem, and that problem of double spending wasn't solved until the Bitcoin white paper came out, and it announced this new technology called blockchain. And what the blockchain did is disrupt the way that file sharing happened, because it created a ledger that everybody could see. The blockchain is a distributed ledger. So when I do a transaction and I send somebody some Bitcoin, or I send them a vote, or I send them a title to a car, or a deed to a house, everybody else in the world can see that I no longer have that item and the other person does. That happens through verifications, which we'll cover here when we talk about mining. Well, that distributed ledger eliminated the problem of double spending, and that is what birthed this 200 plus billion dollar industry we know as cryptocurrency. And the way that it works is it's built on a trustless system, and everybody can see the transactions. And like I said before, it makes digital counterfeiting totally impossible. And all this launched January 1st, 2009. And many people are saying that when that happened, when the blockchain came out, that it is a more significant invention than the internet. So, why are people saying that? Why are people saying that cryptocurrency is the biggest advancement in money? Well, because it enables peer-to-peer transactions. So if I want to do a transaction, like send somebody some Bitcoin, I just do it directly with them. Before, there was a need for a central bank where I would have to get permission from my bank to send money to someone else's bank, and then that person's bank would have to give them access to their own money. And there's all these central banks and intermediaries in place that really screwed it up. And cryptocurrency allows for direct peer-to-peer transactions. And it also has no single point of failure, where if a bank says you don't get to access your money, you don't get to touch it. And that really screws people up if they can't, you're messing with my money, you're messing with my emotions. So blockchain is also a trustless system, and it's because of this distributed ledger. Coming on the heels of the financial crisis in 2008, where a lot of people got hurt and these banks had to get bailed out, there was not a lot of trust in banking, and it opened up a little window in time when a new currency could come out. And because of the complete transparency that is part of blockchain, this whole industry was birthed. So I mentioned earlier a white paper, and people go, well, who invented Bitcoin? Who invented this blockchain? Well, it's this mysterious guy named Satoshi Nakamoto. And Satoshi has 1 million Bitcoin in his personal account, and he's never moved a single one. We know this because it's on the blockchain. We see all the transactions. Well, we don't really know who this guy is. We actually don't know if it's a guy or a woman or maybe a group of people or alien with advanced technology, or maybe it's a time traveler from the future that came back in time to release this new technology. All we know is that in November 2008 he released this white paper. Some people on the internet decided to adopt it, and it started going, and nobody has seen or heard from this Satoshi Nakamoto since the spring of 2011, and he's yet to remove a Bitcoin from his account. Even at Satoshi, which is known, a Satoshi is what they call the very smallest unit of Bitcoin, named after the inventor there. So if you've all been paying attention, or maybe you've heard of mining, Bitcoin mining, cryptocurrency mining, well, what is mining? And this is a part of you becoming literate, is understanding what mining is. So I broke it out into this little story about searching for golden BBs. Now, imagine there's a swimming pool, and that swimming pool was full of BBs, copper BBs. But inside that swimming pool, there was a single golden BB. And if you found that golden BB, it was worth some Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoin. But what you would do is you'd have to reach into the pool blindly, pull out a BB, and see if it's gold. And you would just pull one out, one after another, until you found the golden one. That's kind of like what Bitcoin mining is. But instead of just reaching your hand in the swimming pool and pulling something out, it requires electricity, specialized hardware, and some smart people to set it up, and infrastructure, warehousing it to have a data center to hold all these servers. Well, in the beginning of Bitcoin, it was not like searching through a swimming pool. It was like searching through a cup. And the machines, you could do it back then on like your laptop or your desktop, and it was just like searching through a little cup. You search through the cup, and every 10 minutes you'd find a golden BB. Well, as more people joined the hunt for these golden BBs, it wasn't like searching through a cup. It was like searching through a bucket, because the more hardware and the more hashing power is devoted to searching for these golden BBs, the bigger the search is. But one thing remains constant. Approximately every 10 minutes, one of these golden BBs is discovered. So the more people that started searching, it became like searching through a bathtub, and then eventually searching through like a swimming pool. And then there was a huge advancement in searching for these winning blocks, these golden BBs of Bitcoin. It went from doing it on your personal computer or laptop to doing them on specialized hardware with graphic cards. And then another big advancement came when it went from using specialized graphics cards to application-specific hardware, these ASICs chips that are only used for mining Bitcoin. They are super high-powered technology that is totally optimized for mining Bitcoin. And Bitcoin became more and more popular, and more people saw the value of creating Bitcoin, and literally tens of billions of dollars have been dumped into mining hardware and electricity. And it's not like searching through a lake to find a golden BB. It's like searching through like an ocean. And that is what makes Bitcoin so valuable, is because to create a Bitcoin, you have to run this algorithm, you have to invest the electricity, you have to invest the hardware, you have to invest the time, you have to prove the work, and then a Bitcoin is created. So here's a graph of just October 2016 to November 2017, and month in and month out, more hardware, more electricity, more smart people, more infrastructure is invested into mining Bitcoin. And it remains that about every 10 minutes, a new block of Bitcoin is created. The difficulty keeps increasing, and more is invested to find this Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is released at a pretty steady pace. And that's what this next graph is all about here. So in the first 4 years of Bitcoin, when you found a block of Bitcoin, like down here, when you found a block of Bitcoin, it was worth 50 Bitcoins. So let's say you're pulling a BB out of a cup. Every single time it's worth 50 Bitcoins. Well, after 4 years, something called Bitcoin halving takes place. And that's where, in this section, every time you discovered a Bitcoin, it was worth 25 Bitcoins. And today, we're here. So every time a golden BB is discovered or one of these Bitcoin blocks is discovered, it's only worth 12.5 Bitcoins. So it's becoming increasingly more difficult to find Bitcoin because so many tens of billions of dollars have been invested into mining, and the difficulty is much harder. But it's becoming less valuable as far as the number of Bitcoins found when you do find one. So that's why the price is just skyrocketing up in value, because real money, real time, and real assets are being invested into mining Bitcoin. Well, get this. To date, over 79% of all the Bitcoin that will ever be discovered has been discovered. That's 16.6 million of the 21 million of Bitcoin that will ever be available. So there never will be more than 21 million Bitcoin available. So 79% of it has already been mined. So really what's going on here, guys, is an unstoppable global network, a worldwide independent power and electricity infrastructure. We're talking about really smart people all around the world, security, privately owned property, and millions of nodes all over the world. And they're all searching for these 21 million Bitcoin. And, like we said, the last Bitcoin will be discovered around the year 2140. I got a little typo over here. It says 2040. Nope, it's going to be 2140 when the last Bitcoin is actually discovered. So to understand, why people mine, why people invest all their time and energy and money into mining, is because number one, they're looking for these blocks, and when they win a block, they get Bitcoin. And secondarily, miners earn Bitcoin profits when they verify transactions. So when I send you a transaction, some miners are out there in the world and they're verifying that transaction, and they earn a little transaction fee. And those transaction fees are added to the winning block. So the next person that finds a block, discovers one of those golden BBs, they win not only that block of Bitcoin, but all the transaction fees. And today it's about 30% of what they earn when they discover a block. About 30% is in transaction fees. And so as the blocks get smaller, the transaction fees get more because Bitcoin is becoming more and more popular. All right, I'm ready to blow some minds here, guys. Let's talk about inflationary currency versus deflationary currency. I'm going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $1 million in fiat currency, valueless currency, was just created out of thin air. And the reason why is because these central banks just print money out of thin air and then charge interest on it. And then they charge interest on the interest that they invented out of thin air. So when that happens and it compounds, it creates this incredibly huge monster of fiat fake currency. Well, a deflationary currency like Bitcoin, where there's a finite amount that will ever be found, what that does is it creates huge demand and a scarce supply, and that's why the Bitcoin price, the price per Bitcoin, just keeps going up and up. So I'm going to bring something into scale here and share with you. How would you like to make $1 a second? If you were to earn $1 a second, it would take you 11 days to accumulate $1 million. It'd take you 32 years to accumulate $1 billion, and it would take 32,000 years at $1 a second to accumulate $1 trillion. So the scale between $1 billion and $1 trillion is huge. The difference between 32 years and 32,000 years. Well, all right, I share that with you to share you this. In the first part of this year, January 1st, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market cap was 17 billion. On Friday, November 20th, the Bitcoin market cap was 241 billion. That's a time span of 223 days, and that's an increase of 223,781,000,000. So every single day, on average, more than $692 million has come into Bitcoin. Okay, that's way more than $500 million every single day of 2017. And you're wondering how people are getting so stinking rich with Bitcoin. And the people that know this and the people that participate are going to be part of the biggest redistribution of wealth that we'll experience in our lifetime. And here's another quote I like here. You can be part of it or you can watch it happen, by Elon Musk. And why is this happening? Why is all this money come flooding in here? Well, some of the biggest hedge funds in the world, some of the biggest financial institutions are putting money into Bitcoin at a rapid pace. The market capitalization of Bitcoin, in this slide, I put 100 billion. It's probably well over 120 billion right now, which makes Bitcoin bigger than Goldman Sachs and bigger than Morgan Stanley. Goldman Sachs market cap's only like 93 billion, and they've been around for probably 100 years. So Bitcoin is blowing past these financial institutions like they're standing still. It's a fun time to be part of this redistribution of wealth. All right, guys, I'm gonna play a video here.
$80.9 trillion. That's about as big as it gets, isn't it? It's all the money that's out there in circulation in the entire world. But of course, it all depends on your definition of money. The $80 trillion figure actually accounts for all of the banknotes, coins, and money deposited in bank accounts. But if you expand your definition of money, maybe to include, say, currencies, gold supplies, the amount of money that's invested in financial products, well, the amount rises to over $1 quadrillion. And by the way, guys, that's 1 million billions. So the big question is, where does all this money actually come from? Well, central banks are responsible for minting new coins and printing new banknotes to replace the ones that get worn out or perhaps get lost down the back of the sofa. But they can also inject new money into the economy. Since the financial crisis, central banks right around the world have been embarking on massive programs of quantitative easing. This is essentially printing new money to try and ease the threat of a global recession. But as the Bank of England points out, these days, most money isn't actually made by central banks at all. Instead, cash is created by commercial banks, and it never actually gets printed. So here's how it works. Whenever a bank gives you a loan, say to buy a car, it doesn't actually hand over a pile of cash for that purchase. Instead, it transfers the money electronically into your bank account. The lender only really needs to have a small amount of money on its books to back up that loan, so effectively, it's creating new money in the system. About 97% of all money in developed economies is created just like that.
So in that movie, we just experienced quadrillion dollars. A quadrillion dollars has been invented in wealth out there. Well, let's just run some numbers here because money, it's really just math. So what if just 0.1% of the world's wealth, 0.1% of a quadrillion is a trillion, if just this much money was transferred into Bitcoin, what would happen? With only 21 million Bitcoin, each Bitcoin would be worth $47,619. Now get this, if 1% of the world's current wealth of 1 quadrillion transferred into Bitcoin, we would see one Bitcoin being worth $476,000 and $190. It's almost $500,000 of Bitcoin. And guess what? It's plausible. It's very possible. And at the pace that money is flooding into cryptocurrency, it's maybe an inevitability. Now, here's something that is really what's going to disrupt money, and it's about the unbankable. There's well over 2 billion people on the planet that are unbankable, which means they just don't have access to banking. There's no Chase on the corner. There's no Wells Fargo down the street. They don't even have IDs or identification. So they're just unbankable. Well, get this, with the massive amount of cell phones that are being produced in the world and recycled, and with the ease of Bitcoin and the access of internet all over the world, we're going to be able to get people all around the world bankable. And that brings third world countries, third world people out of poverty and into a global economy. This is really exciting, and this is going to be one of the biggest drivers of disrupting the current banksters and the current money system that is failing us all right now. So we're in the middle of something called a quantum shift, and I'm just going to run through some examples here of a quantum shift. If you're still riding a horse and buggy, you got left behind. And that's what a quantum shift is. A new technology comes out, and if you don't take part of it, you will be left behind. Electricity comes out, you don't use it, you're left behind. Television comes out, you don't watch it, you're left behind. Personal computers come out, you don't learn them, you're left behind. Cell phones come out, same thing. The internet comes out, you're not using the internet, you're left behind. Smartphones come out, you don't use them, you're left behind. Cryptocurrency is now here. If you don't use it and make it part of your life, you will be left behind because this quantum shift is inevitable. Remember the quote, there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Well, it's coming, and it's called the quantum shift of cryptocurrency. So now that you know this stuff, I want to challenge you to live life on the left side of the decimal. And I'm going to show you guys what you can do to also create $100 a day in passive income with Bitcoin. Now, what I mean by living life on the left side of the decimal point, with only 21 million Bitcoin ever to be invented or created, and well over 7 billion people on the planet, the likelihood of all these people on the planet owning a full Bitcoin is not possible. And Bitcoin's going to be as popular to where everyone on the planet knows its name, just like Michael Jackson. And what's going on is most people will not have a full Bitcoin, yet they'll purchase cars, houses, apartment buildings, full college tuitions with less than 1 Bitcoin. So I'd like for you to take advantage of this unique window in time. This unique window in time where Bitcoin is still under $10,000. And I challenge you to live life on the left side of the decimal point, own a full Bitcoin, and create a residual income stream of Bitcoin to where you can be passively earning Bitcoin while you sleep. We've broken it down to a few easy steps. The first thing that you need to do is get a cryptocurrency wallet. They're free. The person that introduced you to this video can direct you to where you can get a crypto wallet. The next thing is buy some Bitcoin. There's exchanges and there's different ways where you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account to acquire some Bitcoin. And then get in touch with the person that introduced you to this once you've got some Bitcoin, and we'll show you how to multiply it using some of our companies and strategies to grow this. So I know you're all busy. I want to thank you for watching. I want to Thank you for investing in yourself and taking the time to become cryptocurrency literate. Hopefully you found this presentation valuable, and know that by simply sharing this presentation with people that you know, you can start living life on the left side of the decimal point, accumulating Bitcoin, and creating your own financial freedom. Thank you so much for watching.